Righty, everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Stephen Howson, and we are talking a little bit about what Ralf Rangnick has supposedly said. He's not come out and done this in a quote, but this is what is supposedly said. Talking about wanting to get rid of Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. Delivered a presentation to club chiefs earlier this month where he told them that Captain Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka were not good enough to be playing for the club, and apparently has insisted that all three of them need replacing. According to 90th Minute, which is not the best source in the world whatsoever, but I feel like there's something at least in this. Rangnick pulled apart the side's defence during the presentation with United's higher up to recommended major changes were needed. All three players Rangnick laid into have struggled for form, obviously, for this season. And the manager's words, probably pretty shocking if they've found out that that's the crack. And I can't imagine United was delighted to hear them. There's about £160 million worth of three players there. That's got to rock United to its core that they've wasted money on these sorts of players. And I don't know if they're going to content the opinion just of one man on this one, but you would hope that there can be some discussion at least around these. The views on Maguire could be pretty damaging, considering that he's the club captain and he's an £80 million signing, a world record fee for a centre-half. These are bad. And now, the Luke Shaw one's no surprise. Luke Shaw's had like six to eight good months in fucking 7 years or something, and where's all them Shawberto Carlos memes now? They've disappeared, haven't they? That's the problem with Luke Shaw. Can't get consistent. Rangnick had something to say about Luke Shaw previously, before he was United manager, back in September 2020. And he said, I think they could do with a left-back. I know they've got Luke Shaw, but I'm not sure if he's on the same kind of level you need to be for a club like United. So it's interesting that he came in, and one of the first things he did was start bringing Telles back into the team on a regular basis over Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw has played, as has Wan-Bissaka, but it's very obvious Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw are secondary choices in Ralf Rangnick's mind to Dalot and Telles. Now, Harry Maguire has played. He was out of the team this weekend. I can't remember what the reason given was for Harry Maguire to be out of the team against Villa the other night. And I do expect Harry Maguire to probably feature a little bit more than the other two in this. But it's interesting. I don't think this is a particularly shocking opinion, to be honest. I think all of us that have watched United to any level would go, yeah, they need replacing, absolutely. The problem is Manchester United do not have a history of being able to effectively replace players that we've paid a lot of money for. We don't. We're horrendous at that. In fact, I would say that's one of the worst things about this football club is how we manage to replace players that have been poor for us. Or that have not quite worked out. United haven't got the luxury of doing what City do and having like four £50 million centre-halves and going, oh, do you know what, we can just sit this one on ice, get him in training for a little bit and then see what the script is. The fact he's the captain, the fact he cost 80 million, you're going to take a massive financial hit on that. I worry that Manchester United's board don't have the desire or the balance to be able to go in there and to say, no, actually, we made a mistake and we're going to put it right. There is no history of the 17 years the Glazers have owned this football club that tells you that's what we need to go and do. There's a comment just up there. Max K says, Maguire, I feel, is harsh. He's been good up until this season. Maguire was good, and I'll give you good, up until Manchester United switched focus to become a possession-based team rather than a counter-attacking team. Once United became a team that looked to hold possession, he started to show frailties. And I think he was effective last season. I wouldn't say good, but he was effective last season, and certainly nowhere near the abuse that he deserved to get at times. The narrative around a lot of people, which I think was incorrect, but it was the narrative that existed at the time, was we'd lost the Europa League final because Maguire wasn't available. Now we're supposedly favourites to win games because he's not available. That's a hell of a narrative shift in 6 months, and I think the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle with that. I don't think he suits the style of play for a team with a high line. I think if you're a team that wants to play on the back foot, be compact, accept balls coming into the area, he's pretty good at that. Yeah. But at £80 million club captain, he ain't that. And if you want to play a high line, he ain't that either. So replacing 3/4 of your first choice defence, the other guy that's come in, Alex A says it's unfair. Alex, tell me why it's unfair. Please, tell me why it's unfair. Replacing 3/4 of your defence is going to be no mean ask. That should take a long time. And with Manchester United, it'll take even longer. Michael says, Maguire can't run. That's why defending the edge of the box and playing counter suited him. Yeah, I don't think he's very mobile. Max, England play with a high line, though, and Maguire excels in that team because he's got quality midfielders in front of him. He also kind of plays as part of a free. That's different. Is this live or premiere? Figure it out. And also, here's the other thing. You can't compare international football to the Premier League or the Champions League because it's fucking garbage. For 90% of your international career, you're going to be playing pretty much against farmers. That's it. They only played until now because of the price tag. I think when he was signed, it made sense because we were playing a counter-attacking style. And Wan-Bissaka made sense as well as a counter-attacking defender. But as you look to be a team that wants to hold possession and dominate the ball and dominate games, you have to have better footballing players in there, and they have to have a bit more pace. If you're going to be a team that presses, you can't press at the front and low block at the back. You can't do that unless you have a full team transition that's doing that. And that requires pace, that requires work rate, that requires organisation. Typically, when a team presses high, the defensive line goes high to support that. That makes the field smaller, that compresses the midfield, and it gives you a fighting chance at being able to win the ball back. Maguire can't play on the halfway line. That's the fundamental problem with having him at centre-half. He gets turned and he gets beaten, and it ain't good enough. That's the top and bottom of it. If United go back to being a counter-attacking team, Wan-Bissaka and Maguire will probably be fine. Luke Shaw's a different matter. Luke Shaw, I think, can play in any system. I think he's a good footballer. Certainly out of those three, I think he's the better of the three footballers. The problem with Luke Shaw is there's zero consistency out of him. When it's contract time, or when someone comes and threatens his position, he can play well for a few months. And I thought people over-egged how good he was, how long he was good for. And I think there was some reasons behind why they were saying that, but I think it was disingenuous. Luke Shaw was good for probably about 6 months. And even that, there was still positional mistakes in there. You know, comparing him to some of the greatest left-backs this club's had, let alone the world has had, was an absolute fucking disgrace, for want of a better word. Your first job as a fullback is to defend. Whatever you do, like people say, oh, he's the most progressive player in United's team. Of course he is. Fullbacks are vital to modern football. And the options at Manchester United is you either progress through Luke Shaw or you progress through Wan-Bissaka. And guess what? You're not progressing through Wan-Bissaka, so of course Luke Shaw's progressive with the ball at his feet. But what's he creating? Because the chances created from him's not amazing. The assists created from him, not amazing. And defensively, not amazing. I would agree with the move to replace all three of them. I just don't have the faith in any of these players to be able to be the sort of player that will return us to being competitive for the league and potentially for the Champions League. FDB Spike says, how was Wan-Bissaka a winger? Madness, you know. Madness. It's unfathomable, isn't it? Jesse says, Steve, Harry has the worst position I've ever seen, always miles off the pace, 3 steps behind everything. This is the other thing as well. I was loving watching Ronaldo getting criticised. When United lost 5-0 to Liverpool, Ollie got a lot of stick for that. Ronaldo got a lot of stick for that. Fred and McTominay got a lot of stick for that. But Maguire didn't get a lot of stick for that. And if you go back and watch a lot of those goals, it's Maguire being beaten inside the box. You can't be beaten inside the box. You know, I've obviously we do the podcast with Rio. When I go down to London, and sometimes when we're doing the podcast, get to chat to both Rio, but also Anton. People forget Anton was a good Premier League defender. Certainly not Rio's level. But I think because he wasn't Rio's level, he kind of underestimates quite how good he was himself. So he's quite eager to talk about positioning and stuff like that. And last week when I was down there, I was talking about who did Liverpool play last week? Was it Brighton? I can't remember who Liverpool played last week, and it was the goal that comes across. No one picks up the runner coming into the box, and I couldn't work out, because obviously I don't know if you noticed, I didn't play centre half in a Premier League team, so I wanted to go and find out actually who is at fault here and why. I showed Anton the video, and he was like, actually, it's Van Dijk here, you know. No one picks up the runner from deep. And they just kind of switch off. Konate's got a good position, and it's Van Dijk that lets the guy in at the back. When a ball's coming into the box, the whole defence has to work together. Usually the back fullback has got a hell of a lot to do because he's controlling the density of the remaining 3 defenders. So if you've got a back 4, back 3 is different, and I don't know enough about back 3s to really explain. When you've got a back 4, let's say it's coming down our left-hand side and I'm the centre-half. So Luke Shaw, my left-back, he's gone out and he's gone to try to stop the cross. That's all he's there for. Stand him up, don't go to ground, try not to let him come back on the inside, keep him wide. The ideal scenario is here. You block it, it goes out for a throw-in, a corner, or he plays the ball back. Those are the 3 scenarios that you're looking. Or can you step in, nick it without going to ground and counter-attack? Those are the best 3, and ideally, can we come away with possession? That's the best sort of scenario that we're looking for here. You got to stop the cross coming in, first and foremost. Don't allow it to be checked back behind you, and don't allow it to get crossed in front of you. Those are the 2 things that you're looking for as a fullback. Now, the remaining 3 that are in the box, and this is where United fall foul, this is where Wan-Bissaka falls foul far too often. Wan-Bissaka allows the ball to get in between him and the other defenders because he's not got that defensive instinct from playing either centre-half or full-back throughout his entire career. He was a winger. So he's learning these sorts of things. The 2 centre-halves need to be right on top of each other. If there's one threat coming in, they need to box in and bracket him. If there's 2 threats coming in, they've already fucked up. If there's 2 threats coming in, the fullback's got to get involved and take one of them. You need one player that's off and organising, plus 1 in front of whatever you've got in front of you. And you can't let the opposition striker get to the front post in front of that first centre-half. So that goal the other week, I said, I can't remember who it was. Go and have a look at it. Konate actually takes up a great position, but Van Dijk allows him to get ball side of him on the inside. And when a ball's coming into the box, we can't be facing our own goal. We need to have got to our own goal and turned. And the way Rio describes it is, I have my hand out and I put my hand on where that forward is and I'll move it to wherever he goes so I kind of know where he is without looking at him. And I'm checking to make sure I know where he is, or I'm going to get a handful of shirt, which obviously is illegal, but that's what I'm going to try and do. So I know where he is and I can feel where he is. If he comes behind me, I can back into him a little bit. But he knows where that other defender, or the other forward is. And then you're looking at the ball coming in, and you've also know where the forward is. Van Dijk in that instance, facing his own net, and far too often, United facing our own net. When Liverpool beat us, Maguire is facing his own net, he isn't set, and Salah's beating him at the front post. These are the technical aspects of defending that this Manchester United defence doesn't have a fucking clue about. Andre in the comments says, right back from Brighton, Lamptey impressed me yesterday against Chelsea. I think United are looking at him, but I think we're going to get put off by the price. And we'll see what the script is with it. Before I get talking about Lamptey and some potential options, though, I just want to give you a quick little message from today's sponsor, because we've got a sponsor on today's video, and it's SPITCH. So SPITCH, let me just get my read up for y'all. SPITCH is the new ultimate football fantasy manager game that is on the market. It's now available in the UK and in Ireland, and you can prove your managerial skills against other managers and win some dosh. SPITCH lets you build your fantasy teams from all sorts of leagues. You've got the Premier League, you've got the Champions League, you've got Bundesliga, you've got the Championship, which is the greatest work, probably the greatest division in football. And with SPITCH, you get to build your own team, collect points, battle out against other managers on the app, and you can play for free. And you can also compete against your friends in communities and win a chance of a share of up to £70,000 on a weekly basis. And the rewards are not based purely on the whole season. Listen, let's have it right. 3 weeks into the new season, you've all done your fantasy football thing, and then you wake up one day a little bit late because you went out on a Friday night and you forgot to put your team in. 90% of your team's missing. You didn't do any of your changes. You didn't do any of your subs. You didn't captain someone when you should have done. And now you can't be bothered because you've lost pace on everybody else. Forget that noise. No one's still doing their fantasy team after Christmas. And if you are, you're an absolute lunatic. These are the one that you need to be doing. You need to be doing the 1 day ones, the 1 week ones, challenge your friends, challenge whoever. And do you know what? We might even make our own little league in there as well. Let us know in the comments if you'd be interested in doing that as well. It's a daily fantasy manager. It means you can do it on any given match day. You can create a new lineup. You can choose between players that are playing in that match day. So you're not got to worry about long-term injuries and all that sort of stuff. They use the correct data tools that you want them to. It's Opta, so they get the very best stuff out of your weekly performances, and it's available on the Google Play Store, the iOS App Store, or even the SPITCH website. The link for SPITCH is in the description below. Go check it out. Give us a shout. Let us know what you think. Is today a match day? Today is a match day. So if you wanted to do it for today, you can do it for today. All right? All right. Tom, Steve, when are we getting Sir Alex Ferguson on 5? As far as I'm aware, he's asked the question, and I believe the plan would be something like, if we got to 1 million, maybe we'd do him for 1 million special. But like I said, it's not confirmed. It's just an idea that we've sort of touted out around there. But it's not one that's off the table. I think it's one on the table. I wish I could tell you about all of the ones that we've got lined up. We've got some foreign trips that we're going to go and do, where we're going to go hang out with... I can't believe how lucky I am to get to do this. Who'd have thunk just talking absolute maca about United would have landed me in some of the positions that we found. We're grateful to Rio for some of the opportunities. But we've got a couple coming up that are going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to be going to a Champions League winner's house, not in the UK, hang out with him for a day or so, do a podcast with him, do some other content with him. And we're looking to try and do that. Now, COVID seems to have been like... over the worst waves of it. We're looking to try and do that at least once a month. So there's going to be some absolutely wicked ones. Asim says, how did I meet Rio? I'd met Rio several times before we did any content together. And he's always been... is there something on the camera screen? It's the sun. Let me just do that. Oh, wrong way. There we go. The sun's out in Manchester. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. I'd met him a few times. Met him at the Class of 92 match. My lad got a photo with him. And just met him. Living in Manchester, you actually see way more footballers than you imagine. So I'd seen him out and about a few times. Never really had a conversation with him at any point, though. And then BT asked us a couple times to go and do some promo of like the Champions League that they do. So they give you like 20 minutes with him. So I'd done that like twice. And the last time I went and did it, it was really interesting, actually. The last time I went and did it was when I just started Stretford Paddock. And he saw the logo on the mic and he said, what's happening to Full-Time Devils? And I was like, hang on. You actually watch our shit? And he was like, yeah, we do, actually. And he was saying, are you still working with Adam McCullough? I was like, yeah. This is just something new that I'm sort of getting on with. And he was like, yeah, sound. Did the interview, all that sort of stuff. He followed the channel and was like, yes, I'd never heard of it, but I'll give it a follow and all that lot. And then, as you know, I do 5 things. and I just got asked if I'd like to do 5 things for his channel. 5, obviously it's got 5 in it, so really obvious link up there. He wanted to start doing more content on his YouTube channel, says, do you want to do 5 things? So we did 5 things about the Premier League that weekend. So obviously we did 5 things about United. What did we learn? What did we learn about the Premier League that weekend? So I did a couple, didn't do great views, like 10, 12k, something like that. And then he started putting his 2p onto it. And I was like, we're recording at the same time. We're recording in different locations. Why don't we just make this a podcast? Because some of the points Rio's saying, I'd like to ask him deeper questions on it. And he said, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. So we did it, and we started doing it remotely. That evolved into, you know, what you've seen now with some of the stuff with the studios and stuff like that. And I guess we've been doing it a little over a year now, and yeah, it's flying. And there's obviously going to be some sick opportunities that are coming out of it, which I can't wait to go and do. It's mental that they used to watch FTD. It is mental. I mean, Paddy Evra told me. I went and did Paddy Evra's socials for him before he kicked that lad in the head. Flew me out to Marseille. And I hadn't met him. I'd been dealing with his brother to get me over there. And then when we met, he was like, oh, where I know you from? And I said, I fucking told you I loved you once in Panacea. And he started laughing. And then he goes, no, he goes, you do the talking outside the ground after the game, don't you? And I was like, fucking what? I went, yeah. And he goes, and this is the mad one. And he says, Rio and Carrick are always putting your videos in the players' WhatsApp group. And I was like, fucking what? That was one of the most, what the fuck you want about moments ever, was that. But yeah, madness. Fucking madness. Should Laird be given a chance before Lamptey, says Mulvaney. Right, let's get back on topic, shall we, with talking about Street Lamptey. I think, offensively, he's as good as there is that's out there, Lamptey. Defensively, I think he's good, but he's another player that benefits from being in a bit of a counter-attacking side. Now, Brighton do play good football, but they do like to play off the back foot a little bit. So I would like to see a little bit more from him. The problem with, again, I say this all the time, innit? If you buy a player from a Premier League team, they're absolutely loaded. So there's not a lot of incentive for them guys to be able to just give you their best talent. You kind of need to look a little bit further away and try and find someone from a league that doesn't have quite the financial muscle, because I don't think it's... yeah, and obviously Brighton play free at the back, so it's different. I don't think you have... he definitely can play right back, though. That's not in doubt. You don't have the incentives to sell your players like you do here. You go to Brighton, and he's probably a £20 million player where he is, at most, right? But you're never getting him for £20 million because he's English and he plays in the Premier League, which means he's probably 40, 50 million starting price, which, I'm sorry, for that sort of money, you should be getting established internationals. Do you know what I mean? Should we call back Garner? I think for the long-term development of Jimmy Garner, no. Let's go with it next season. What's my solution to not getting ripped off, selling them free loan to buys or sell to Newcastle? Supposedly, well, actually, Tony Marshall's the one who said no to Newcastle, isn't it? Yeah, maybe Newcastle's the move, you know. Do I reckon Delow's similar to Lamptey? No, I think Lamptey's a lot more of a dribbler. Bill says, I think some of the players on loan should be brought back and give them some minutes. Otherwise, what's the point of an academy? I agree on that one to a certain degree. How's Levitt doing? I didn't watch him last night, but I believe he had an absolute stormer of a game last night. What position will Mabry play? I'm not sure he'll play, to be honest. Brandon doing well at Norwich. Yeah, I think Brandon could be a brilliant backup player for us. I'm not sure he's going to be starting regular, really, as first choice at least. Ed says everyone's on a blower to Newcastle to try and con them out of big money. Burnley are laughing. But about Burnley are laughing, you know, because I reckon what Newcastle did was really smart. They've weakened an opposition, and that's the move for them now. Is it a chance to sell Maguire and Wan-Bissaka to Newcastle? Hell of a poker play that if you try to do that right now, because then you've got to try and replace them in this window. Pavel says, how unlikely is Ten Hag with a poor club structure considering the tweet I put out yesterday? Let me just pull that tweet up and I'll read it out for everyone so everyone's got a little bit of context for that, because otherwise it sounds mad, doesn't it? Right, here's what Ten Hag says. I think you could almost take this as, this is a come and get me and a don't bother play all in one. And I think it could be a come and get me play to City and a don't bother picking the phone up play to United. And he says, I want to work for an organisation with a clear philosophy, attainable ambitions and honest people. If I don't have that idea, I don't start it. The last thing I want is to look over my shoulder to make sure they don't shoot me in the back. That doesn't sound like the sort of thing you would say working at United, does it? I like the idea of Ten Hag. Doesn't like he looks the idea of us, though. Do I see Newcastle making it more difficult for teams to make reasonable deals by paying for over for bang average players like Wood? Yes, this happened with both City and with Chelsea. They just went have that with the cash. What's my thoughts on Rangnick's comments on Pogba? Which one specifically? Because there's been several comments that have come out on Pogba, isn't it? So let me know which ones. We will end up with Poch. Oh, I hope not. Ugh. Ugh. Anyway, righty, I'm going to wrap it up there, but cheers for tuning in. Go and check out SPITCH. It's pretty good. Even if it's free to download, you've got nothing to lose. Go and download it. Check the link in the description. See what it's all about. And for weekend, I might do a little league. If everyone's interested in doing a little SPITCH league, let me know. And we'll do that. Check it out, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Laters.